Hello everyone, Michael Owergreen and the Russian accent. Thanks for being with us, and today we are going to talk about Russian hackers became a Russian bots. This is our topic today. We've all heard that Russian hackers played on Trump's side and even coordinated their effort with members of the Trump's family to defeat Hillary Clinton in 2016 election. This is a never-ending story, and since no one has any evidence why we were talking about it. Before, they were talking about hackers. Now they've changed to Russian bots. There are no hackers anymore. What we do know about Russia's invasion of the election.
So there are a lot of people. I want to know, why does Twitter allow all the Russian bots to go in and completely shape a debate online? Why does Facebook? Is Facebook coming forward with the information that you need to make sure this doesn't happen again? Is Twitter cooperating? Google, are they cooperating? Is everybody cooperating they need in a way they need to make sure that foreign countries, foreign adversaries don't try to impact our elections?
They are cooperating, but there's a lot more information we need. I really don't think we have, by any means, a full picture of what the Russians did on social media.
So in the meantime, we don't know much about these bots. They say a couple million bots distributed information about clashes between the police and the members of the black community. It was spread as paid ads to form protests. And somehow, these made in Clinton campaign fail.
But even what we do know is profoundly disturbing. Just in the last couple of weeks, the public reports about not only the paid advertising the Russians did on Facebook, but the fact that the Russians used organizing tools to try to organize protests that they this confirms one of the conclusions of the intelligence community from earlier, and that is, separate and apart from their desire to help Donald Trump or hurt Hillary Clinton, they wanted to hurt America.
How could they shape our debate by using bots and pay ads spending only about $100,000? And why does the Pentagon have a budget of more than $580 billion to defend democracy if Russia was able to beat us at our own elections? How cost-effective are we?
Well, there's a reason they call it asymmetric warfare, is that it doesn't take much. This is actually pretty simple to do. It's very cheap. So for very little resources, you get a big bang for your buck.
It looks like we are not ready for that impact. Is it some kind of secret technique? Is it new? Who invented it? Do you think Putin tried on us?
The other thing is, as people smarter than I have pointed out, we've been seeing this since 2014. This is basically Vladimir Putin taking methods that he honed at home, working on against internal opponents, independent journalists, activists, and exporting it first to Europe, then to the U.S. These bots, DDoS attacks, hacks, hack and dumps, we saw that all in Russia over the years. So actually, I've been subjected to the same stuff in Russia, and then I came here and thought, okay, I'm free and clear, and here we are again.
So it is well known. He even did it in Europe. But something is wrong. If she said that this is a common thing in Russia, how come we don't know about it? We have a cyber unit in the Pentagon. Do they know about these bots and hackers? They talk about it now. But why did they not prevent it? Why we were not even alerted at that time? Was anybody doing their job?
Whether this is actually what we should focus on the most. Obviously, you've got a job to do. The committees have a job to do. Mueller has a job to do regarding collusion and any obstruction issues.
Well, you know what? It does not seem to matter who has a job to do. What does matter is who did the work. And this is a Putin. He did his job, right? At the end, where are we? What are we going to do now? What do we need to focus on?
But fundamentally, we need to understand what the Russians were doing to try to destroy our country.
They destroyed our country. How is that possible? Clinton won the popular vote. But Trump became president of the United States. Where are the Russians here? Clinton calls for direct elections like in the rest of the world. I don't see any Russian call here. I want someone to explain me how they did it, or tell me that it is not going to happen again.
We are trying, but we have a lot more work to do.
Also, they say it was first invented in Russia to use against political opponents. Then it was transferred to Europe. Again, who? Did the Russians steal the election from Merkel? Looks like they didn't. So why should we be worried about it?
There's always some level of deniability. The Russians can always say it wasn't us, and they're never going to want to show the full proof of how we know that the Russians were doing this.
If we hide the proof, we will never convince our allies that the invasion happened in 2016. Even now, we see Merkel has lost mutual trust with us. She said Kaspersky is okay, while we are trying to push them out of the US. We are holding tightly to sanctions against Russia, but she has started talking about their release. We are no longer their guardians.
It seemed like they didn't have any contacts that would suggest collusion.
And now we have in Ukraine what we have. People kill each other, and even a new COP is about to begin. Even the political pariah arrived in Ukraine. This is not a Russia-oriented guy. He is Putin's enemy. Was Putin doing this?
Congressman, real quick, the conflict in Ukraine has to be the hottest frozen conflict on the planet right now. 10,000 dead, almost 30,000 wounded. John Kerry, former Secretary of State, is in Ukraine this morning. I'm going to summarize something he said by Moscow Times managing editor Oliver Carroll. Russian behavior today stems from Western triumphalism in the 1990s at a time when Russia needed financial assistance, which it did receive, by the way.
Well, at that time, the leaders of USSR, Mikhail Gorbachev, was asking for financial help. He asked for $100 billion, and we refused to give the USSR funding. What happened after that, we all know. President Yeltsin and President Putin. Now we got what we got.
So the thing is, we talk about Vladimir Putin as if he's 12 feet tall and he's, this perfect chess playing strategic genius, and he's just not. He didn't expect Donald Trump to get elected. I guess he was kind of pleased that he got elected, but now his hands are tied. That's the Russian narrative, that Trump's hands are tied, and he can't deliver on what he would like to deliver in terms of the relationship with Russia. So the Russians are really unhappy right now. This has not turned out well for them, and they certainly, I think, celebrated a little too soon.
This is very interesting story. The Russians celebrated too soon. Celebrated what? Trump becoming a president. But he is not the president of Russia. It's Americans who are supposed to be happy and celebrate. But look at this. It wasn't Putin who made him president, but the members of Electoral College. Why should we not celebrate our elections? We are happy because they are not happy. Should we, as leaders of the world, worry about how happy or unhappy others are? Or are we not leaders anymore? And we are just followers of his Twitter and Facebook accounts? Or maybe even bots? Thanks for being with us. Michael Owergreen and Russian Accent. See you next week.